Today we're going to be making a ladder pattern Damascus Bowie. So let's get to it. First thing I'm going to do is start out with a couple bars of steel, 1084 and 15N20. Then I'll cut them up, arrange them in a stack, tack them together with the forge welder. Then I'll bring it over to the forge, get the stack forge welded down, and then I will repeat this process about 3 times until I get about 240 layers. Then we will start drawing it out and begin doing our ladder pattern with some ladder pattern dies. After that, I'm going to grind down those impressions made by those ladder dies, get it to the thickness I want, and start building the knife. I'm not going to forge in the bevels here because I don't want to distort that ladder pattern. I will grind in the distal taper. So let's move on to the next process. So after I get the blade roughly profiled, I like to go ahead and surface grind it up to a 220 grit. This makes it a lot easier after heat treating, get those deep scratches out. Then I'll proceed to cutting in my rough bevels and cutting the guard shoulders and that sort of thing. Gotta have it plugged up. Gotta have it plugged into the right one. We have power. So another thing I failed to mention over the surface grinder is that surface grinding before you cut in your guard shoulders helps prevent rolling your edges. With a belt converted grinder, that chance is there. Not so much with stone grinders, but with belt grinders, because of the flex in the rubber contact wheel, you can roll those edges. So I'll surface grind, get my ricasso flat, and then cut in my guard shoulders. It's one of the last things I do. And got to have coffee. Who doesn't like coffee? Right now, I'm going to go ahead and mark centerline this blade and get the rough bevels cut in and do some thermal cycle. All right, let's pause just a second. What I like to do in between each grid as I work up in each grid is I like to come here and color the blade with some blue marker. This lets me see the scratch marks in between each grid, make sure I get them all out. That way when I go to hand sand, I don't have to do nearly as much work because they're all gone. Now you could use Dicam or something like that, but you don't need that for this. It's way too expensive for something this simple. Just some blue marker. Also, I like to use J-Flex belts when I get up above 120 grit. That way I can get in here in these plunge lines and clean them up. You'll see me bumping that edge, making that belt roll up and clean that plunge line. The belt is overlapped the platen just slightly to do that. It'll really make a difference in cleaning up your plunge lines, getting good work done there, symmetrical, square, that sort of thing. Now these tips are brought to you by our sponsor. Oh, we don't have a sponsor. Actually, we do. I want to thank my patrons for supporting this channel. And if you're getting something out of this and you'd like to support the channel, the link to my Patreon is in my bio. Thank you, patrons. All right, we got it hand sanded up to 600 grit. Come out pretty good. Tang everywhere is finished up same way. I'll do a little more hand sanding when I put the logo on and do the final touch up and clean up before I etch it. The next thing I want to focus on is the guard, spacer, handle, and pommel. As you just seen, I cut out a piece of guard material. This is 180 layers of W's. I don't know if you can see that pattern in there, but that's going to be our guard. I'll most likely use this or similar for the spacer and pommel. But for the handle material, we'll be using this nice piece of stag. And that's going to really look beautiful. But that's all we have for now. So I appreciate you watching. Let me know down in the comments if you enjoyed this. And I hope to see you on the next one where we'll finish this ladder pattern buoy completely out. Thank you for watching.